I mean, LeBron is a transcendent player, and that was a transcendent performance last night.
This was so sublime, so spectacular. I have to sit up there and pay homage. See, he was something special last night.
Transcendent performance. Nobody can match in the league what he does.
It's the Angry Old Hoops podcast. This is a long one. Please stick with it because there are a lot of interesting points to be made on several different levels. In order to pique your interest, let me provide you with a partial table of contents. If the man has a good game, fine. But why does LeMedia have to lie in addition just to try and sell a product? You just gave me my ammo. Did you know that this fourth quarter comeback not only isn't historic, it's not even the biggest comeback of 2024? Did you know that? When you start calling someone the GOAT again after one good game and disrespecting the other players in the league and all their accomplishments, I have to point out that LeBron's performance, not just that night, but any night you want to pick from this season, isn't even on the radar compared to the performances of the other players in this league, and I prove it in every category. He also isn't on the radar for overall performances, such as triple doubles. He didn't even have the best performance in the league that night. Yes, you heard me correctly. He didn't even have the best performance in the league that night while the media is acting like a miracle happened. Luca takes the honors that same night. We take a look at the abysmal defense of the Clippers while introducing the awful coaching channel. I have several mini segments within this overall episode making fun of LeMedia. You won't want to miss any of those. Why don't the Clippers or other teams look like they care? Can you just pretend that you care? Why wasn't Kawhi Leonard, their best defender, guarding LeBron when they're the same position and LeBron was the one on a hot streak? Shut it down. I include a brief reminder of how different Jordan's three-pointers looked to LeBron's lumbering wide open threes, while remembering that Jordan made 6 in one half in the finals compared to this supposed miracle of 7 over the course of a game in a regular season game. We talk about heart, we talk about character, we talk about Coach Carter and Barry Sanders. Multiple shout outs to sports and fitness rants as well as Uncommon Sense. I list a few of the mind-blowing performances of current NBA players that LeMedia is ignoring in favor of LeBron James, and look at the Lakers who did not receive their dues. Okay, let's roll. You know, it's hard to keep up. And I'm going to quote Uncommon Sense and sports and fitness rants in this video. And I know sports and fitness rants mention that they think, fanboys think that we duck whenever LeBron has a good game. Hey, do you want me to finish the game I was working on or get to the next game? Because this shit takes a lot of time to break down. But I couldn't escape it because while I'm out jogging, I've got the headphones on because there's so much noise pollution around here. I've got to block it out while I'm exercising. But then comes the noise pollution of people like Stephen A. Smith, etc. You've got your YouTubers who are somewhat reasonable, and then you have LeMedia where it's just so clear what their job description says, what their contract says, because they can't be reasonable about it. Everything just goes over the top the other direction. And if it makes you feel better to call me and the others haters, then do so. But you're not being reasonable when you give this guy praise. You go immediately when he finally has some good numbers. You've been patiently waiting while he stinks up the joint over and over again, and then he has a good game, and immediately he's the best. Somehow he skyrockets above all these other players, that he actually hasn't even outperformed in that season. How do professional sports analysts just ignore statistics and the performances of all these other players in the league? And when I finally got around to looking at the game, I'm looking at the fourth quarter and I'm looking at the shot attempts. How has nobody mentioned LeBron James missed his last 3 shots of the game? And it was other Lakers that had to seal the deal. I mean, I really had the impression from listening to LeMedia that he was basically perfect and was solely responsible for closing out that game. It's not even true. Oh, the music means it's time for a break, a make fun of the media break.
Was last night more about the Clippers' collapse in the fourth quarter or LeBron just going crazy hot?
LeBron going crazy hot.
Blah, 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 blah. Oh, thank you, Skip, for setting me up to say what was scripted so that we could suck LeBron off on television again. It had nothing to do with the Clippers having 6 turnovers in the fourth.
19's not a big number when you're talking about the NBA. When you're talking about, because if you can hit threes, you close that gap.
Nobody should be up 21 points in the fourth quarter and lose, no matter who you have out on the floor.
I got to point out something here, how they flip-flop as long as their flip lands in favor of LeBron James, because when they're trying to say that it was an unprecedented performance, the 21 points was a big deal. But when accused of saying that the Clippers collapsed, now 21 points isn't that much of a deficit to overcome. These guys would do terribly in a courtroom because they're constantly contradicting themselves.
If you can get and ones, you close that gap.
Yep.
All of a sudden, LeBron gets the steal, the turnover.
What steal are you talking about? And Skip agrees with him. Yep. It's just what Skip does now. Real entertaining show. Where's your other host, by the way? LeBron James did not have a steal in the fourth quarter. NBA Advanced Stats shows that in his box score. The play-by-play shows that. What are you talking about? Again, be accurate. Is it too much for us to ask you to tell the truth when you're trying to praise somebody?
Now, back to our program.
You know, it's one thing for me to have to come on here and admit, my God, LeBron just didn't mess up. It was an almost impossible performance. And these guys literally call it a transcendent performance. Well, when you go and look at it, it's not. I get why you think it's not cool for me to not give dues here. Well, I'm willing to give dues that he had a much better game than he usually does. But when you pretend that it is something we've never seen before, should I just go down the list? Okay, let me go down this list. I'm looking at Land of Basketball. Before I get to the individual performances, let me also talk about team performances in terms of unbelievable comebacks. That's not even the biggest fourth quarter comeback in 2024, much less history. The Phoenix Suns and the Sacramento Kings had a 22-point comeback. Now, does that mean that the Lakers' 21-point comeback didn't exist or shouldn't be acknowledged? Well, when you're going to pretend as though it's something you've never seen before, and you've seen something greater that same season, then yeah, I've got a problem with the way you're presenting things. And 21 points is not what it used to be. And I have mixed feelings about that. I feel like a 21-point lead is something that you should not lose as a team. You should not lose 21-point leads to another team, no matter who's on that other team. And that says a lot about the NBA, in my opinion. On the other hand, with the three-point shooting and scoring and defense not being allowed, it's not that weird. I mean, we're going to be seeing things like this happening more and more. You got the same teams that blow each other, I'm talking about the exact same matchup One day, a team blows X team out by 30. The next time they meet, the other team takes their turn to blow that team out by 30. What the hell's happening?
What are the Clippers doing? Amir Coffee. As LeBron cuts through, keep your back to the baseline. What are you switching? There's no screen. What? Transition defense is a special kind of awful. James Harden, Terrence Smith. Why is everyone sprint back? Why does every Clippers player just stop at half court? What is going on? Shot goes up. You have not one Clippers player boxing out. And where's Russell Westbrook going? Why is he not boxing out? So, of course, the Lakers get this ball back.
Guys, we have another treasure on YouTube, Awful Coaching. I don't want to put too much of his content in here because it's his. You can go to his channel. I paint some broad strokes about the joke of the NBA's defense and why scoring now just really shouldn't be compared to the past. But if you want more details on it from an angry coaching perspective, please, by all means, go over to that channel and watch. It's good stuff. As usual, the music is provided by Uncommon Sense. Shout out. One more clip from Awful Coaching because I already showed it. And it's James Harden, and I'm going to talk about Hart later in this little podcast video, whatever this thing is.
James Harden has help in transition. Don't you work on this? Like Terrence Mann, is he communicating these in help? Like James Harden, you have help. Just slide your feet and force LeBron into help. Look what you do. Gamble. Why? And just take yourself out of the play. There's no help going to get there now.
James Harden, act like you care. Get in front of the freight train. I know you're not going to get the call because it's LeBron James and he's 250 pounds, but do your job. I mean, LeBron James, for all his size, does not like contact. He does not like resistance. He does not like people standing up to him. Get in front of him. He's going to hit the floor. We're going to stop the game for 10 minutes while he rolls around, but he's not going to drive as often. But you guys just getting out of his way is going to give him confidence to do whatever the fuck he feels like doing. Act like you care, James Harden. I see these headlines where Brian Windhorst and his ilk are saying not only is LeBron the king, but he's the GOAT because he had one good game. I mean, that already means that you have no credibility. Anyone, literally anyone in the NBA can have a great night. But in addition to that, the fact that LeBron isn't a top ranking performer, even including that performance this season, the disrespect to the players who are outperforming LeBron James is enough for me to gripe about by itself. But also these people intentionally misleading viewers. Let me bring things back down to earth. Category 1, scoring most points in a game. I'm looking at a top 50 list in land of basketball. And you have Luca at the top with a 73-point game. Let me try and go through this fast. We also have a 70-point game scored this season, a 64-point game, a 62-point game, another 62-point game, a 60-point game, a 54, a 52, 3 51s. We have 4 people have scored 50 points. 3 people have scored 49 points. Another 3 people have scored 48 points, 47, 46, 46. A huge long list of people have scored 45. And that takes us off of the top 50 page. LeBron James isn't on it. LeBron James is not in the top 50 of the season that people are saying he's the GOAT. All right, let's move on through the other categories. I'll go a little bit faster just so we can get through them. We've got rebounds. At the top is Andre Drummond with 26, and LeBron James is not anywhere on the screen in the top 10. We have assists. Next, Tyrese Halliburton is at the top with 23. LeBron James is not on the screen. Next, we have steals. We have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 7, Herbert Jones with 7, and again, LeBron James is nowhere on the screen as I scroll down. Blocks. Wemby has 10 blocks. I am scrolling. LeBron James is not on the screen. Field goals made. Luca has made the most field goals in one game with 25. LeBron James is not on the screen. 3-pointers made. Keegan Murray is at the top with 12. LeBron James is not on the screen. Free throws made. Giannis at the top with 24. LeBron James is not on the screen as I scroll through the other players listed. He is not top in a single category. And you're talking about him being better than everyone in the league. One more perspective. Instead of showing you how LeBron's miracle night stacks up against maybe Luca's best night and other players' best nights, let's look at that same night. That night was supposedly the miracle night, the second coming of Christ in LeBron James's performance. He beat Luca by 4 points and lost to Luca by double in assists and almost double in rebounds. He was only 2 points over Jamal Murray the exact same night. 1 point over Jaren Jackson Jr. He acting like a miracle happened, and he didn't even outperform other people that night. You might also say, well, what about his overall performance? You know, he did multiple things. Okay, we're going to talk about triple doubles and the other things a little bit later, but I want to switch it up just to keep your attention. But here's a teaser. LeBron's amazing night. Luca's best triple double this season not only dwarfs LeBron's, it dwarfs LeBron's best triple double in LeBron's career.
This was so sublime, so spectacular. I have to sit up there and pay homage.
Let's talk about Kawhi Leonard for a moment. And you can forget my distaste for LeBron James. This is just plain basketball confusion. Kawhi is also a small forward. LeBron James is supposedly, officially a small forward. In all of LeBron James's shot attempts, whether he missed them or made them, Kawhi Leonard was not on him. I saw Kawhi Leonard on him occasionally, but LeBron passed the ball away. Most of the time, Kawhi wasn't on him, and that wasn't because of switches and mismatches. Kawhi was not assigned to him. I'm going to do my awful coaching impression and say, Tyronn Lue, why is your best defender, who's the same position as LeBron James and has not attempted a shot in the moments that Kawhi was on him, why is he not on him when LeBron James is shooting hot? Do you want to put an end to the hot streak, or do you want to fucking lose? In fact, for some reason, he's down in the paint with Anthony Davis. I think I saw Kawhi run out at LeBron James on an attempt one time. It wasn't his man, but he ran out to contest the shot. That's as close to Kawhi guarding LeBron as we got. Now, most of you know when Kawhi was on the Spurs, he was known for how he shut prime LeBron James down. Coach, why, if LeBron James is having a good night, wouldn't you put your best defender on him? Now, there are some answers for that. You know, LeBron James pretty much never has the other team's best defender on him. He just isn't considered a legit threat anymore, and therefore he ends up getting easy buckets. It's the we're going to live with that shot type of scoring from the other team's perspective, whereas you LeBron fanboys still think he's doing something phenomenal. No, this is just the other team being like, well, okay. But even that doesn't explain Kawhi being down on Anthony Davis. And if you care about winning the game and you see your lead slipping away, it's time to adjust. A lot of these NBA coaches just don't seem to have the word adjust in their vocabulary. I think mentally it would have effed up LeBron James just to have Kawhi put on him. And we're going to talk about heart again. Kawhi should have pulled a Michael Jordan and in the huddle been like, F that, coach, I've got him. No, that's not your man. F that, coach, I've got him. Where are the guys with that attitude toward the game? Saying, I am going to take responsibility for making sure that person does not beat us. I am putting it on myself to shut that person down. Who in this league has that mentality? I feel like the vast majority of them would rather just be like, well, it wasn't my man. It's unfortunate that we lost, but hey, it wasn't my fault. I'm still a multimillionaire. You can't point the finger at me. I'm not going to show up in an Instagram meme. That's all that matters. And there we go. That means that Sports and Fitness Rant's title, that win exposes a soft era.
He said to himself, not in my house.
Yeah.
This is not.
I agree with that.
This is.
So now LeBron, who ducked the previous Clippers game for no good reason other than a lie, the same injury that he's playing on now with no visible symptoms. Now you guys are claiming that he alphaed it and said, not in my house. This is the same dude that just plain didn't show up to defend his house. Stop.
He was something special last night. He was.
Nobody can match in the league what he does.
Look, this is what makes it hard, because if you said LeBron had a great game and moved on, that's tolerable. Granted, you have to consider how wide open he is, because he's so unrespectable with his shot that people allow him to take that shot. And you have to live with it. That's what you do with people whose shot you don't respect. You live with it. Every now and then, they're going to have a good night. Or in the Clippers' case, maybe the defense just sucked. Sounds like they need a new coach.
James Harden, could you just guard the ball? If a screen gets set, the switch will take place. You switched before anything happened. How poorly coached can this team be? Norman Powell, you must communicate that you're going to have to take Jackson Hayes, your late getting back, so Plumlee can go take LeBron. There's no communicating happening here. So you got two people standing with A's.
Look at this one. There's zero attempt to recover here. And whether LeBron James is shooting well or not, no one has ever said his release is fast. But this defender is like, well, didn't work the first try. I'm just going to stay out of bounds here. Do you give a shit about the game? I don't care if you can't get back in time to block the shot. Can you make an attempt? Can you try and get into his mind and at least think someone is trying to stop the shot? At this point, it's not about LeBron James. It is about the NBA as a whole. But ultimately, that brings it back to being about LeBron James, because the LeBron James media wants to pretend that LeBron James is doing this against the competitive people of the past. Not this joke NBA where sometimes regular season games look like that all-star game. Can you just acknowledge the scenario, the atmosphere in which all of this is taking place? Isn't the timing fortuitous that a week ago I was editing the 1992 finals in which Michael Jordan hit 6 threes in a finals game, had 35 points by halftime. Mind you, this is back when nobody shot three-pointers versus today where everyone shoots three-pointers. But not just that. He is using his lightning quick first step to shake his defender, rise up into the air, and deliver a shot. Not this lumbering slowly into a wide open shot shit that you're excited about. 1 3-pointer more in an age of three-point shooting in a regular season game versus 6 3-pointers in a finals game in an age where three-point shooting wasn't a big thing. Oh, the music means it's time for a break, a make fun of the media break.
LeBron is a transcendent player, and that was a transcendent performance last night.
Rachel Nichols, she's not a career LeBron sucker or anything. Matched with Colin Cowherd, this should be objective. And look what it says at the bottom. I don't care if it's formed as a question. You're talking about LeBron James being the best player in the league. So remember what I showed already. You know, the guy had a good game, and you immediately pretend all the accomplishments and all the other talent in the league don't exist. He's not in the top of anything. Why can't you just give LeBron his props? Why can't you just accept that he had a good game? Is that what's happening here? Is that what it says on the screen? That LeBron James had a good game? This is the problem. You guys so desperately need to believe the lie that you immediately jump on these delusional, deceptive bandwagon shows.
Now, back to our program.
Let's move on to behavior. Sports and Fitness Rants was saying that LeBron was talking trash to the crowd. God damn, dude. Are you the face of the league? Are you an adult? Are you aware that you shoot 0 for 7 pretty often? Be thankful that you had a good night. You didn't even bother to show up. You didn't even bother to show up last time that your team played the Clippers. You got no room to be talking. Man, I always think about Coach Carter. I know a lot of people thought that that was an inspirational film, and it was nice to see a disciplinarian who cared about developing the character of the players. And I always think about making a parody video called Coach Carter Does Not Like LeBron James. Could you even make a Coach Carter movie now? Like, we've fallen so far in terms of respectable behavior from athletes and sportsmanship that I feel like young kids watching it wouldn't even understand what Coach Carter's trying to tell people in terms of not always showboating or trying to draw attention to yourself or say, look at me. Did you see what I just did? Yes, we did. We were fucking watching. The people are in the stands.
That's me, baby. That's me. I did that. I drew that up. Yeah. Ha ha.
Act like you've been here before. LeBron James is the opposite of Barry Sanders. And people respect Barry Sanders for the fact that he knew the product he delivered spoke for itself. He didn't have to do all this other crap afterwards, talking trash to the crowd. The same, Sports and Fitness Rants had a great point. How's this dude going to have people thrown out of the stadium because he gets butt hurt? He's so insecure, he gives a shit what people in the crowd say, and then you get from the safety of the court, talk trash to people when you finally have a good game. That's not respectable. Which brings me to uncommon sense. It's like, I don't care if LeBron James ends up winning 10 rings. Anyone who behaves in this manner does not have my respect. You know, some of you think that we are biased to Michael Jordan. I tell you right now, I would not have Michael Jordan as my GOAT if he behaved the way LeBron James did. With that in mind, Michael Jordan could have fewer rings and still be my GOAT because it's the way he played and the way he competed that inspired me to decide, yeah, I think I'm going to have to give it to him. Whereas today, you guys just want to look at pieces of paper and ignore competitive spirit. I mean, do you care at all about the way the game is played? Uncommon sports and fitness rants, and myself. I just got a recent one. People saying, oh, what's with you guys' obsession with LeBron James? Or you don't have a life. They actually quote, here's what's pathetic. You guys who are immature humans and say immature things that aren't respectable are actually quoting LeBron James. That's how immature LeBron James is, that when he failed and we lost and he was faced with criticism, he goes, well, at the end of the day, I'm rich and you guys still have your miserable lives to go back to. Hey, I'm sure we've all been tempted to say something emotional and kind of not respectable like that. But here, you are in the spotlight and you're supposed to be the greatest. And in order to deal with your insecurity, even though you are famous, even though you are a professional athlete, even though you are richer than God, you still feel the need to lash back at the common folk? I mean, that's embarrassing. And you fanboys actually quote someone like that. Well, I got news for you. The reason that people like me are doing what we do is because it's frustrating to see how stupid society has become and how easily manipulated people have become, and that you actually look up to someone who behaves like a child. The game that we love was destroyed by this person. So yes, we do have a personal investment in why this upsets us. It wouldn't have to be LeBron James. It could have been anyone else who came along and the NBA decided to prop up like a toddler who can't stand by himself. We would be equally upset with that person. Oh, the music means it's time for a break. A make fun of the media break.
He cannot be the LeBron of his MVP seasons in Miami every single night.
Why did Rachel Nichols emphasize the words every single night? Because that tells the viewers that he almost has an MVP performance most of the time, but not every night. That's not what's happening, people. It's not. That, again, is an unnecessary narrative propping up LeBron James on something that doesn't exist. If you don't want us haters to be hateful, don't say things that aren't true in order to push something. Just stick to the facts. By the way, 2009, 2010 MVPs, those were Kobe's MVPs. That was horseshit.
82 games plus 3 months of the playoff.
82 games? Woman, he's played about 2.5 seasons in the last 5 years. 82 games.
But man, when he puts it out there, nobody can match in the league what he does on the nights that he is as hot as he is.
If you weren't paying attention during my earlier rant, go back and listen again, because it makes what she just said utterly preposterous. No one can match it. Not only have they matched it, they've done it numerous times. So many times that LeBron's performance doesn't even show up on the map.
Now, back to our program.
Maybe your response to me listing that LeBron James isn't listed in top performances for individual stats, maybe your response is going to be, well, what about overall performances? Well, let's see. Sabonis has 21 triple-doubles. Jokic has 19 triple-doubles. Doncic has 11 triple-doubles. LeBron James has 3 triple-doubles this season. And we all know, or at least those of you who pay attention to my channel, know how LeBron gets his ridiculous numbers. But having said that, let's look at these performances in another way. When you look at other people getting triple-doubles, especially Jokic, you see that he's doing it while getting wins, which means you can't really accuse him of just being in it for himself. He is actually doing what is needed for the team to win. He's also had 3 straight in which he has had 14 rebounds and 14 assists while scoring big numbers like 30s. I feel inundated with LeBron James stats from the media, and Jokic gets a courtesy nod every now and then. I'm reading some of the other things that he's accomplished. He was the first player to record 10-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, 15-plus assists in a game while shooting 100% from the field. First player in playoff history with 175-plus points, 65-plus rebounds, and 50-plus assists over a 5-game span. He was the only person besides Wilt to average a triple-double in back-to-back playoff series. First player to lead the entire postseason in points, rebounds, and assists. Keep in mind, he's doing all this while LeMedia continues to say that LeBron is the GOAT. I'm not saying that Jokic is the GOAT, but if LeBron isn't outperforming someone else who is setting mind-blowing records, how can he be the GOAT? Let's get to 2024. Jokic is the youngest player in NBA history to record 13K plus points, 6K plus rebounds, and 4K plus assists in their career. February 22nd, 2024, he's the first player in NBA history to record 20 plus points, 15 plus rebounds, and 15 plus assists while shooting 100% from the field. That's a crazy, crazy stat. Not to give all the love to Jokic, let's remember that Sabonis, for example, here's one case in which he had a triple-double in a win, 13 points, 21 rebounds, and 12 assists. Now, Luca Doncic does amazing things. He really does. I don't spend that much time talking about him because he does more crying than I would like to see, and because, well, if I start analyzing other players, I'm barely going to have time to analyze LeBron James's nightly tantrums. But let's compare Luca to LeBron really quick in terms of overall performances, because Luca, on a night he scored 60 points in a triple-double, also had 21 rebounds and 10 assists, 2 steals and a block. Wait, he only made 2 3-pointers in that 60-point effort? That's kind of crazy. So Luca also, on a night when he scored 42, had 13 rebounds and 10 assists. On a night when he scored 39, had 12 rebounds and 12 assists. Oh my God, 4 steals that night. LeBron's best ever, 44 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists. I mean, Luca eclipsed that. Luca eclipsed LeBron's best triple-double ever. And yet you're calling LeBron James the GOAT right now because he had a good game. So in this 34-point performance, which has everyone declaring him the GOAT again all of a sudden, he had 1 offensive rebound, 6 rebounds total, 8 assists. And I have a hard time believing he only had 3 turnovers because LeBron James doesn't really know how to breathe without committing 4 or 5 plus. Oh, the music means it's time for a break, a make fun of the media break. In this particular segment, Wendy states that only Giannis has had more fourth quarter points this year, and that's simply not true. According to StatMuse, he is number 6. Hey, number 6 isn't bad, but that doesn't change the fact that professional analysts were incorrect on television. And I would challenge you to look at LeBron's fourth quarter points because we know he's legendarily bad in fourth quarters. A lot of these are garbage points. And we've also seen that LeBron has no shame in going to the hoop when a game is already out of reach and scoring another layup to add to his stats. How many of his fourth quarter big games were losing efforts? I hate to agree with Keyshawn 21 points isn't that much anymore, but it should be. I mean, 21 points is a lot of points. And the fact that 21 points doesn't mean that much anymore tells you some things about the NBA. But it's funny how someone like Keyshawn can admit in this particular scenario that 21 points doesn't mean much anymore, while people still celebrate LeBron scoring 20-some points a game. We're not talking about scoring 20-some points a game 30 years ago, 20 years ago, not 10 years ago, not even 5 years ago. That's how quickly the NBA is eroding. And yet, when people want to compare LeBron to players of the past or hold him up, hey, none of that matters anymore. Let's just look at how he's scoring compared to the past, not compared to right now. Because as I just showed you, what LeBron's doing right now is par for the course in terms of NBA players.
Now, back to our program.
Heart. Sports and Fitness Rants talked about the lack of heart in the NBA. And I kind of took that as saying winning against people who don't have any heart is not the same as winning against people who desperately want to beat you. And the Clippers are a great example. Can anyone deny that Paul George, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook have achieved amazing things in their careers? The only one of those four that I feel would fight to the end is Russell Westbrook. And I'm not even 100% sure on that. But I can see James Harden being like, well, I had too many donuts today for me to pop out on that three-pointer or to play defense today. I don't even know how to describe Paul George. He just has always struck me as soft, even back in Indiana. And, you know, anyone who has time to podcast in between games instead of focusing on their mistakes and righting wrongs and getting ready, I got a question. I really don't like these players with their podcasts while they're still playing. As great as Kawhi is, Kawhi would not have a championship if 50% of the entire Warriors roster hadn't gone down in 2019. And then we come to Westbrook, and I don't know whose fault this is on this screen, but Sports and Fitness was talking about people not even bothering to fight through screens or always switching off. And Westbrook is actually in the scene here. I mean, do you guys care about guarding the shot? Is this what I said earlier, that they don't actually respect LeBron's shot? Or is this just lack of heart and laziness? Maybe you want to give them an excuse that it's just a regular season game. Okay, maybe. Then why is LeMedia acting like LeBron James just won a championship last night in one game? Going back to not acknowledging the rest of the Lakers, I'm looking at the play-by-play, and LeBron James did not hit another shot after 4:36. They were still down at that point. It was up to the rest of the Lakers to actually get over the hump and stay over the hump. From 4:36 on, I'm looking at James missing a three-pointer, Davis getting an offensive rebound, and Harden fouling him. So Davis goes to the free throw line, shooting 2 free throws, which ends up tying the Lakers. So let's look at the advantage of having Anthony Davis. We have Anthony Davis a few minutes later getting another offensive rebound against off of a Hachimura miss. Kicks that out. Hachimura ends up getting a three-pointer. Would not have happened without an Anthony Davis offensive rebound. Clippers turn over the ball on a shot clock. Hachimura driving reverse layup on an assist from Russell. Russell, right after that assist, 24-foot three-pointer. What's James do? James comes down, says, hey, I want in the action. Misses a three-pointer. What's James do after that? Tries driving. Misses. The last point of the game is Reddish getting a dunk. That's a very, very, very different ending to a game than what is being portrayed. You know, D'Angelo Russell shot 60% that night. And you had Reeves shooting 55%, Anthony Davis with 53%, Rui with 53%. And although LeBron James had 61.9%, this is one of the only times I've ever seen LeBron James higher than his teammates in shooting percentages. One of the only times he's been the highest. And regularly, he's the lowest. I've done videos on it. So again, you aren't looking at anything normal. You're looking at a player having a great night, which any NBA player can do. A reminder that Uncommon Sense is the man behind the music. And one more shout out, Awful Coaching, the channel Awful Coaching, because it's awfully good. I just started watching it, and he, in a more detailed way, a coaching way, if you will, explains why I say things such as there's nothing impressive about completing a pick and roll or even being the one responsible for the assist in a pick and roll in today's NBA. They don't seem to know how to play defense. They don't seem to be coached. They are doing things that would have gotten each and every one of us benched in high school. He also explains why we have layup lines, why LeBron James or anyone, not to just pick on LeBron James, but he's a great example of why LeBron James getting to the rim doesn't mean shit, except that the NBA sucks. Now, I don't want to steal his thunder by showing his clips here, but if you're interested in what I'm talking about, go check him out. That was way too long. Let me know how far you made it into the video. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate your support. Please give me some insightful comments if you don't mind. Talk to you next time.